In less than 2 weeks, an infamous murderer in Minnesota is set to be released from prison. David Brom was convicted of killing his parents, sister, and younger brother with an axe in 1988 when he was 16 years old. He was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences, but because of a change in state law in 2023, Brom is now eligible for parole. Jennifer Hoff joins us with more on the implications of the change. Jennifer?
Julie, the law made Brom eligible after 30 years instead of 51, and this applies to anyone under 18, effectively ending life sentences without parole for juveniles. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled is unconstitutional.
The images aren't new. Still easily fanning old feelings about a crime that rocked Rochester nearly 40 years ago when 16-year-old David Brom killed his parents and 2 siblings set to serve life sentences.
Mr. Brom is eligible to be considered for parole
Until a Department of Corrections parole board voted to grant Brom work release in January. The now 53-year-old blaming his parents for his early depression.
In the cloud of depression, I started to believe that other people were at fault because I was often more depressed at home than I was in other areas of life.
Brom says treatment and faith helped transform him.
I apologize for the ripple effects of losing an entire family in such a horrific way.
His expected release coming 2 years after the governor signed a sweeping public safety bill focused on juvenile justice, in part allowing anyone under 18 to be eligible for full parole after 15 years instead of 17. A legislative committee Republican Representative Walter Hudson serves on.
If there's a degree to which we can intervene and put them on the right track, that's obviously preferable to throwing them into a cage forever. However, there do need to be certain rational boundaries. Certainly, murdering your entire family with an axe would seem to be one of those acts.
Minnesota's change, making it the 28th state to ban juveniles serving life without parole. Trusting Brom has too, when those closest to the crime still have a hard time forgetting.
I'm very pleased to hear that, but it is still hard for me to accept and forget the sights and smells of what I saw that Thursday evening in 1988.
Olmsted County Sheriff there, Kevin Torgerson, was a young deputy back then and one of the very first on scene. Obviously, something he won't forget. That is a county, too, by the way, that the Department of Corrections confirms Brom will not return to when he is released on July 29th, transitioning instead to a halfway house in the Twin Cities, where he'll have to wear a GPS monitor, with plans to then go before the parole board again early next year. So this all just part of a gradual release for him, Julie.
Well, I know so many people remember that story, and it's certainly one we'll keep following.
I lived and worked down there for several years, and I can tell you anyone down there still
Knows
talks
that
about
story.
the Brom murders. Yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer.